Good afternoon, one and all. Welcome to this technical session 2. It is said that we need to start the technical session with a prayer to the Almighty. Now I pray, Lord Ganesha, Vakratunda Mahakaya, Koti Surya Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kurme Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. I, Professor V. Srihari, from the Department of Commerce, hereby welcome the chairperson for the session, and he is also our principal and a strategic mentor in guiding the events like this. I welcome you, sir. Dr. B.S. Srikanta. I welcome you, sir. I also welcome Dr. M.S. Balaji, a resource person. I welcome you, sir. And also Dr. S. Ramesh, who is an academician, a rich academician who has a lot of knowledge in chairing the session like this. I welcome you, sir. I also welcome Vice Principal Ma'am, HODs, Associate and Assistant Professors, technical staff, and the participants. Welcome one and all. I will begin the event with a quote from John Kennedy. I doubt very seriously whether anyone will hire me. One more quote from Lena Horne. Always be smarter than the people who hire you. Now, I request Professor Veena from the Department of Commerce to introduce the chairperson, Dr. B.S. Srikanta, to the participants. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Great leaders don't set out to be a leader, they set out to make a difference. I, Rubina Sultana, Department of Commerce, deem it my pleasure to read the profile of a true leader, our guiding light, Dr. B.S. Srikanta. Sir is presently working as Principal Sindhi College, Bengaluru. Sir began his career as lecturer in physics at National College in 1976 and became one of the youngest principals in collegiate education. He adored the principalship of RBNMS First Grade College for 27 long years till his retirement in 2014. Later worked as academic director and principal of Surana College. After a short stint at Surana, he spent almost a year in US and made a study of community colleges. During Sir's stay in US, he also visited several laboratories and universities and gained adequate knowledge about the functioning of US universities. He has the distinction of being one of the longest standing principals of degree colleges in India. Serving for almost 3 decades as principal, he is an institution builder and an institution by himself. Sir has completed his BSc Honours and MSc in Physics from Bangalore University in 1975. He carried out his research work at Raman Research Institute, an internationally acclaimed research organization, leading to the award of PhD degree under the guidance of Professor N.V. Madhusudana. It takes pride when I say Sir has 42 years of teaching experience, 16 years of research experience, and about 30 years of administrative experience. In his career apart from teaching, Sir has also succeeded in teaching human values and life skills to his students. Sir has published 16 research papers in international and national journals, completed 2 UGC-sponsored research projects, authored 8 textbooks for both PU and BSc classes, and written several articles in popular periodicals and magazines. Sir has also served as a member of Syndicate, Academic Council, Senate, College Development Council, Local Inquiry Committee, IQAC, and so on. Sir has also served as the president of Bangalore University First Grade College Principals Association for almost a decade. Presently, Sir is serving as a member and member coordinator for NAC peer team. He has visited so far about 70 colleges in the country. Sir is also a life member of several academic bodies, to name a few: Indian Liquid Crystal Society, Indian Physics Association. Currently, Sir is also the president of Indian Association of Physics Teachers in Bengaluru. On invitation, Sir has participated in TV programs on several channels as a panel member for discussion on various issues related to scientific topics, higher education, and current issues. Sir has also conferred Dronacharya Award Lifetime Achievement Award by Rajasthan Youth Association, Uttam Chand Charodia Charitable Trust and Indian Commerce Association. Sikshana Ratna Award by Rashtriya Basavana Pratishta 2018. Seva Ratna Award by Exide Life Insurance. He was also presented with Award for Excellence, Medal on occasion of 12th Annual Conference, presented with Appreciation Certificate by Nightingale's Life Saving Services, presented Best Teacher Award in 2001, awarded Manava Seva Puruskara by Economic Society. Dr. B.S. Srikanta is one among well-known academicians in the state who have received accolades for his students, peers, colleagues, supervisors, and public as a committed teacher, institutional builder, good administrator, and a good human being. We are pleased and blessed to have been working under your guidance, sir. Now I request Sir Dr. B.S. Srikanta to please take over the session.
It's 4 minutes past 12. So very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, Professor Rubina, for your kind words and introduction. My learned colleagues, speakers of the session, Dr. Ramesh, Dr. M.S. Balaji, other participants, Dr. George, Chairman of the Aware International Institute, Dr. Valsa, my principal colleague, Aware International Institute, Vice Principal, Professor Asha, heads of the departments of Sindhi College, conveners and co-conveners of this webinar, chairpersons of other sessions, speakers of other sessions, learned participants. At the outset, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Charge and Dr. Pillaswamy, the chairman of the, Dr. Thomas, chairman of the Aware International Institute, my good friend and the retired principal of APS College, Professor Pillaswamy, and also Valsa George, Dr. Valsa George, for having given this wonderful opportunity to associate with Aware International Institute, Kochi, Kerala, for giving this opportunity to associate with this international webinar. And the topic chosen for the webinar, as already mentioned by the previous speakers, is a very relevant topic in the present context. Not only because of the pandemic, even otherwise, in the present context at the global level, when we find that there is a wide gap between the industry and the academia, and when we find that the graduates are not employable, so this topic for the webinar assumes greater significance and also importance, and therefore I thank the organizers for having chosen this very important and also very interesting topic for the webinar. We know that everyday higher education institutions are criticized for not producing employable graduates. Therefore, employability of graduates has become a central issue in the mission statements of higher educational institutions. Not that higher education institutions have not realized this aspect. In fact, many higher education institutions have been making sincere efforts to meet the challenges of the industry and the employment market by redesigning the curriculum and also by changing the pedagogy. And as I said earlier, the colleges, like in our institution, Sindhi College, we are also laying equal emphasis on skill development by conducting several value-added programs, value-added certificate programs in the skills which are highly relevant to the employment market. We have also set up, incubation center very recently in the institution where we train the students to become entrepreneurs. But still, the results are not visible or have not reached to the required extent. The curriculum has to be reinforced to increase the employability. Curriculum reforms are very important. Unless we bring in changes in the curriculum to suit the requirements of the industry, we will not be able to achieve, we will not be able to link the academia and the industry for a very fruitful outcome. And that is for a fruitful outcome. And this is possible only with the mixture of the industry and the proper linkage of the industry and the academia. And to discuss on these important and highly relevant topic under the sub-theme enhancement of employability through curriculum reforms, we have two experts with us who will be sharing their knowledge, views and experiences with all of us, Dr. M.S. Balaji and Dr. S. Ramesh. The former from the industry and the latter from the academia. So there is already, we are having a blend of industry and the academia in this particular session. I once again welcome them, Dr. Balaji and Dr. Ramesh, and all the other participants to this technical session 2. And now I request Dr. M.S. Balaji to speak and present his paper for about 20 to 25 minutes. Thank you very much.
Sorry, sir. Sir, now I request Professor Rubina to introduce the resource person, Dr. M.S. Balaji, to the participants. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. I now take this privilege to invite our guest, Dr. Balaji MS. Sir is known as MSB among the HR fraternity, a HR leader with 26 years of hands-on experience in strategic HR with complete end-to-end hands experience in people, performance, process, and systems. Sir is currently working as Executive Director and Chief HR Officer at Critical Facility Digital Private Limited, headquartered at Singapore. He is an alumnus of Open University Business Schools, Milton Keynes, UK, for MBA Strategic HRM and holds a doctorate degree in Social Science and researched on behavior managers' competencies. Sir is a PCC level certified coach by ICF USA, executive and life coach for more than 4,800 hours, an NLP master practitioner, NLP trainer, and an acclaimed motivational speaker. Sir is certified as Change Acceleration Process Leader and Six Sigma Blend. Sir has worked extensively on employee value proposition, digital transformation, value-directed behavior, new generation competencies, people and business transformation. Sir is also an international awardee to the following awards: CHRO Asia 7th edition 100 Most Influential HR Leaders in India, Best in Class Coaching Leadership Award, Most Influential HR Leaders in India 2016, Asia Pacific 50 Most Influential Talented HR Leaders, 101 Most Fabulous Coaches and Thought Leaders in India, Most Influential Coaching Leaders India 2021. It's a pleasure to have you with us, sir. Now I request Sir Dr. Balaji to take over the session.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. The topic for the day is enhancing employability through curriculum reforms. That's the thing. And I will stress upon two important aspects for today. One is that how to bring in the most important topic called employability of every aspirant from degree student to a postgraduate student or beyond that. So that is one. Now, the second main agenda for me is to say that, I understand for many of the colleges that to make a complete reform of your curriculum, it may not be really possible. But however, I will present you some of the strategies through which you can adapt some of those best practices so that it will look like it is a part of the curriculum, not necessarily that is enforced through a UGC or something like that. Now, the third important thing, while I conclude the thing, Ramesh, thank you so much. You also presented some of the key inputs there. My only request to Dr. Shrikanta is that please take these inputs and use it wherever it is required to influence whichever level it is, so that the college, the academics, and the students or job aspirants will get benefit in the longer run. Okay, thanks. The next slide, please. Yeah, so the first 10 minutes, I will focus on what is expected. I'll give a lot of data. Since I come from the industry, I will present you a lot of data. One is that we will explore the expectations. What is the expectations from the industry, so that you can blend upon those expectations into a curriculum. Not necessarily it is a part of an UGC approved, but it can be a specific college approved curriculum, because employability is a growing challenge after completing higher education. It can be a degree or little higher in education and all. I'm not talking about employment. I don't have a bandwidth to talk about employment. That's not my scope. Employability is something that we are going to talk about today. Okay, so I will take some questions at the end of this presentations, but then feel free to ask me if you want to ask me in the center itself. Next slide, please. Okay, this is my favorite. I think the future belongs to those who believe the beauty of their dreams, and everything starts with the dream. I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, many innovative companies. I worked in very, very good companies as an HR person. I think some of the innovativeness comes with a dream. It is dream, design, develop, deploy, and redeploy, or something like that. So the 5 stages which will pass starts with a dream, and I think it's most important that the college inculcates the dream in everyone. Why? Next slide. Yeah, when I think this is about me, they're not required because the background is already given. The next slide. Yeah, see here. This is a survey of the results in 2017. After 2017, I don't know what has happened about it. It was a pandemic time, and I was consulting some good MBA companies, in the sense, consulting in the sense, not a paid consulting, but as a part of their study board, and I was there. Now, if you see some of the data which is being produced there, we asked some of at least 5 MBA colleges this data represents. They're saying that 50% of the people are only focused on academics. They only just focused on, they came here for a purpose, they focused on the academics. That means they and 30% of the people got placed in good organizations. Okay, now you come to the last part, which is very interesting. 70% of the students felt good for MBA, but constantly felt it is more of academics. Now, the question to you, this data will be throwing some of the questions in the mind of the participant. The question to you is that study conducted, this is the background, the study is conducted to find a correlation between in MBA subjects and the placement. That means if you see that 30% of the people really got placement in a good organization. Some of the people I know, just to name some of the organization like Accenture, E&Y, some of the big consulting companies, Bhan, all this, they had placement, SAP, and all these things. I'm talking about MBAs. Okay. Now, it's not an tier 1 MBA also, like IIMs. It is about the other colleges. Okay. So the question is that, what did 30% do extra with the help of the institution? I'm not talking about individual here. What did they do extra with the help of the institution? So I will leave this data once for you. We will examine this. We'll come back to this point if it is required. Next slide. I will give you some of the correlation from the industry. Okay, now look, there's always a dichotomy if you talk about men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Okay, likewise, even if the employers think and what the employers think and want. Now, if I have given some of the numbers there, 4.75, it's a rating on a 5-point scale, which the employers was looking forward when they interviewed people. Okay. Now, enthusiasm, 4.75. That's an highest, I guess, at this point of time. If you go to reliability, adaptability, initiative, loyalty, confidence, ethical values, decisiveness, tolerance to stress, social responsibility. Now, if you see here, now up to leave the social responsibility, up to 3.8, the stress level is only they were looking at a very low preference than looking for enthusiasm. Now, what did we do in those colleges? We did something else extra. So we in a sense, there is a team which we worked on it. And if you look at on the right hand side, there is a research for the participants. There is a research tips for the participants. One, any employment aspirant who is important to do their homework is all about the company. Now, people who were successful in getting the job, employability or readiness for employment, they were doing some homework. What was the homework all about? They worked on understanding the culture of the organization. Will you fit in? Well, my question to the audience, that's why I've written as you, but the question to be asked, including myself, is that will I fit into the culture of that organization? So that to study about the organization. You can't just leave it to the mercy and then go for the interviews. So I'm giving this perspective because we need to prepare the students. In the next few slides of preparation, how it has to be done, I will give you some of the things. Thanks to Dr. Ramesh, who emphatically talked about the value system. Some of the company's values, does it match with the aspirants' values? If it is a mismatch, sooner or later that the person will leave the organization. So better do some homework, understand about the values, and then go forward to that. Technical skills needed. What are the technical skills? Academic entry requirements. That means if someone says that no, marks is not important, only position, this is an entry is important. Now, if the organization says that at least 70% below that, I don't even entertain the application. Now you are a student is under loss. So understand the academic entry requirements. I'm all giving this research before a person starts his MBA or a degree level. So understand that you need to bring the students to that level. And finally, it is a personal skill. Okay, so it is required. See the dichotomy. What is expected out of an individual is a straight jacket activities, what an interviewer want to see in the student. But at the same time, if you want to be there, you need to understand and do some work or some homework about the company, and so that you can get the best match into the both technical and behavioral capabilities. Okay, the next slide, please. Now we'll talk about the solution. Enough of the problem, we talked about it. So I am now assuming that the requirement of what is required for a student to be employable would start from as a primary responsibility from the student himself, and joint primary responsibility also from the institution. Will we have a secondary responsibility? We'll bring into those aspects later. But I think the primary responsibility is both with the student as well as the organization or the academic. But my topic for today is about the curriculum. It is more to do with the academics. So I will limit myself focusing on academics and get some view on the students too. Thank you. Next slide. Mr. Srihari, put it in slide mode, full screen mode.
No, sir. In PDF, it is not possible. In PPT, we can. This is in PDF.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, bring the focus when you invite people for the MBA. I'm talking post selection. 50-60 people come in. There you blend your academical learning through some of the important milestones, what I call, for the next 2 years fully, so that you get those inputs and the output will be very easy. The next graph will show you how the output will be very easy for you. Now, focus on the core. I will talk about the core competence. Excuse me. Focus on the core. I'll talk about the core competency in the next few minutes. But look, what employers, I'm talking with respect to core, I'm talking about. What employers want clearly, visibly, when they want to see is that how good the individual is with the communication, motivation and initiative, leadership. I work for very, very good companies. I want to tell you, the leadership investment started on the day one, not even after 1 year, day one. It would be organization like Siemens, organization like TVS, and organization like Professional Access, and all these places where I worked, all multinationals. There, the investment of leadership started on the day one. That means the moment you get inside the organization, someone from HR, L&D will define the individual development action plan for him and start investing on the person. Now, the employer also want how good is the reliability and dependability, and how he or she follows instructions. That's very, very important. And teamwork, patience, and adaptability. Why? The core competency required to perform a job are the following. That means a person has to first, he or she has to demonstrate the teamwork. Now, it has to be the business and customer awareness. Customer these days are, then sometimes people say that they are very nasty. Sometimes they are difficult masters, whatever they call. But I say customers are always right. So, do you have the business acumen with customer awareness, problem solving, creativity? I touch upon that creativity in the next 3 slides afterwards. Communication and literacy. That means literacy is ability to understand the process and procedures, programs and policies of the organization, to understand those in detail. And application of numeracy. That means you need to be good in numbers. IT skills. These days, there is no function, irrespective of whether you are from a non-IT or an IT, there is no function without a touch of IT in that. So positive attitude and intrapreneurship or entrepreneurship. Now, students have to really work on these things if they want to be better prepared for this one. Now, the next part would be how to really blend these things into your curriculum. Okay, now next slide, please. Okay, I present you the 3-step focus for bringing. Now onwards, I'm giving you strategies. In the next 3 slides, I think it will get over. But then here are the strategies. Now, first one is to adapt an integrated approach to develop core competencies. That means you have to start investing, tweaking your syllabus, forcing them to learn in an integrated approach. What is integrated approach? Person can start learning or can get training and then implement those learnings either through an individual or a teamwork or through a project. So that is what is called as the core competencies or the integrated approach. Okay. The second one is that you have to assess the passion and discipline of that individual. Please don't leave it to the God, don't leave it to the academics, don't leave it to the organization to come and assess and say, these people are good. Some of them, 60 people sat for the interview, 10 people were selected. That's all different. That's all semantics of the work. But you have to understand what is this individual's passion. On that, you start developing. The third one is introduce mentoring. I think Dr. Ramesh also spoke about introduce mentoring as a platform to learn and explore. How? The question is, I've given a 3-step focus to on what basis. Now we'll explore about how you have to do this in the next slide. Okay. As a coach, I want to tell you this is one of my best way to represent anyone's outcome. If you see the increase in employability and the bar stands with 10 months of time, I'm assuming, why I assume, in a year of 12 months, in 2 months, we will be at least having a break in the college or something like that. But if you bring a focus discipline from whatever time it is, for 10 months, if you see and develop, invest at least 1000 hours on development for 2 years, I'm talking about, that means 5 to 6 hours in a week, 52 hours in a 52 weeks in a year, and then multiplied by that, if you say that, at least clearly around 1000 hours of development, if you can focus and blend on that, it's possible. We are done for a few companies. A few institutions we are done, where I was on their study board and all, we are done. So it is possible. It may not be 1000 hours, or even if you focus on 600 to 800 hours of development agenda for them, then it will lead them to the next step, which is called analyze. Now, get an external help or an internal help at least once in a quarter to analyze how the student is going on. You don't have to require a tweak in your syllabus for this. You don't have to do it. It is all about outside. Whether they get paid and all, I will leave it to the people who are managing that show in the organization or in the academics. I don't want to come into that. Now, the large piece of it is green color is the identity. Now, in the next 2 years, if you help the student to help build identity through coaching and mentoring, that means a mentor or a coach will bring the identity of the person in a very, very systematic way. If you help to build that identity, then I think the employment chances are more when you compare to this work, what you don't do. So definitely they will get it, because they will choose. Then organizations, people will start choosing. They will understand the values of the organization, because they would have understood the development in agenda. They have understood the core competencies of an individual, and out of that they would have taken their passion area. For me, my passion area when I was young in an organization, in a day one to day, let's say around 10 months time, I realized that one of the key competencies which I think my manager is encouraging, I also love as a passion area, is my communication. So he started developing, the person started developing. So as in the college, when I was there with my first post-graduation, I started preparing and presenting more papers to the class and outside people than, and only a syllabus is to say that present 2 papers per subject. I used to present 8, 9 papers per subject. So I think that was a development investment. And I think I chose the industry. Before I could come to the industry, I chose a mentor, and that mentor gave me an edge to my identity. Next slide. Okay, this is the last second slide, I suppose. Now, we talked about the 3 focus points. I'll give you clearly the 4-step process where the college academics can take some of these things and implement with or without changing their syllabus or whatever you call. Now, the first one on the right hand side, introduce MOOC. So, what is MOOC? MOOC is a massive open online course. So encourage your students to register, encourage your students to complete at least 2 projects per year based on their learning. These days, online training programs are very, very, very cheap. A certificate course online can cost you as less as 1,500 rupees per course, which could be around 4 weeks of training to 6 weeks of training. Now, what you can encourage people is to make compulsory. I'm telling you, please make compulsory as a program outcome for the people to take up the courses, MOOC courses in the area of leadership, language. See, the language, why I am telling is that communication is a very, very important aspect of being successful. Everyone says that I can communicate to everyone, anyone. I think Dale Carnegie said that in her book, saying that you can talk to anyone or whatever it is, but you can't get carried away when you have when you have a specific instances, you need to learn those communication skills. When you are presenting, you have a different communication. Likewise, if you're talking to someone in a review meeting, you need to have a different communication. Talking to the colleague, giving the feedback. So communication, it's a language I'm talking about. Teamwork, managing stress, risk taking. One of the healthiest looking forward word in an organization is that whether that person is having the ability to take risk or not. Now, this can completely mislead if you don't understand what is that risk taking. Risk taking is not about being an hero, exhibiting heroine or heroiness. It's all about starting from planning, analyzing. So like that it is. Okay, problem solving. Okay, that's about MOOCs. Introduce that. You please introduce that. It will be a very, very good, successful future for you. Second one, establish career office. Please don't call your cell in your college as placement cell. Placement is an yearly affair. It's a very good thing. Call your placement officer or some officer as career officer, career office, who can work on career ladder charts. That means once in at least 6 months, invite some people for interviewing program. There's not selection program. Just come and interview the people. You need to have extensive networking skills, networking, what is called as a platform where you know the industry people. Invite them, ask them, okay, I'm presenting you on a particular day, I'm presenting you 5 people to 6 people. Please interview for 4 hours, have a cup of coffee with us, and then interact with the students and then go. Likewise, if you have 10 people, your 60 members team is taken care once in 6 months. Now have a career panel discussions. This will change, this will make or break the people. Panel discussions are very, very good because they bring in the best of.
Sir, you're on mute, sir.
Sir, you need to unmute, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, till when you did not hear? I think the
Just
message.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay. So have career panel discussion. Third one is have mock assessments. These days, assessments are plenty available in the net. It is free of cost. But there are at least there are some people whom I know who can do an assessments on the people on what is that they want to see outside their organization. That means what is that next they want to do, which company they are working. So that means when you have a panel discussion with the people, interaction with the industry experts, you will have more assessments to be subjected by the external person to the individual. With or without his permission, you can start assessing all the things. Ideally, it would be with or with the assessment as a permission. But what need to be assessed and all the things, sit after that assessment, sit and give the good feedback, give a non-injurious feedback to the individual so that he or she knows what are the area for development. Third one, I represent this because it's my passion area. One is that mentoring from the corporate. No, don't wait for anyone to give gnan from within. These days, advising will never work. You can test for yourself. If someone advises you, it will not work for us. Is there an ability to bring in some of the best coaches or best mentors? They will also be happy to do service for free of cost if they are agreeing, and bring some of the best mentors and coaches so that what they can do is that they can start employer mentoring. That means they act as one of the managers who have taken the individual in the company, and they start mentoring in that way. So organize employer event, networking. It hardly matters 4 hours. Let all the students, 4 or 5 mentors, you can call them to your career office. Let them give them a cup of coffee or cookies or whatever it is. 4 or 5 people they can take and start interacting with them. So that also will. So the third one is embed confident futures workshops. What is that workshops is that? Now, ability to do this addresses the last point, but then uh, I want to bring in a, when the mentoring start listening keenly about what the person is trying to say, he or she, if is a good mentor, he or she can catch the beautiful time where when the person is right. Remember, when the person is giving advice, he will be waiting for to catch the person when he is wrong. A mentor or a coach is a person will be waiting for the person when he or she is right. So bring that as a part of the workshop. So a workshop could be conducted inside or outside with some observers, whatever it is. Ask people to give a lot of ideas. It can be mock, but it can be a real issue also. You can take it. The last one is that get outside view of some of the IT things. I have written on ICT. It is information communication and technology. All without this, I think the world is not moving. Some idea these people, irrespective of whether they are in HR or a marketing or a finance or any other IT or whatever it is, they need to have some view on ICT, which is information communication technology. The last step. Okay, the last step. Introduce innovation and creativity as a no. Introduce innovation and creativity as a compulsory thought process. I am not talking about forcing, as a compulsory thought process. That means encourage a lot of things, encourage a lot of creativity in the students when they come. Start talking that language that we encourage a lot of creativity. Let them go and do it. An organization, an MBA college here in Bangalore, where I was the study member of as a study board, they have an employer development cell. I think that came from one of the thoughts there. Now, if you see the MBAs and engineers or whoever it is, they have at least minimum 18 to 20 innovative products they put it across. Last week, I was told that two of the guys have, while studying itself, they have registered a company under MSME, and they are now looking the product to grow all over India. So there is an innovation as a scope, balance between innovation. See, what is innovation? One is one aspect of it, which is creativity or bringing new or something, and doing more of what we know works. Okay. If I know something, if I do only more and more and more, I may be marginally better. That's all. If I'm 90%, I may be marginally better than 90.5%. But if I'm innovative, if I'm at around 50% and become innovative, straight away I can jump an exponential number, right? Second one is very important. Please encourage your vocational projects. Third one is that is the one which leads to transferable skills. This is a very, very important word. I will explain to you. The one which leads to transferable skills is that when you inculcate the idea of all these things in the minds of the individual in a degree or in a post-graduation level, and if he or she starts appreciating those core competencies and skills, I will tell you, when he or she becomes a real manager in the organization, he or she will start looking at those skills, which is very, very important. I call it as transferable skills. Because once the person ability is there to learn more and demonstrate more and prove more to this organization, and with an ability to fail, it's okay. Ability to fail. Not every time you need to succeed. If an ability to fail, it's okay to fail if you say so. Also, only thing is that those hard work, they will definitely come to a level. In my coaching, I tell you that you can do mistakes, but don't do the same mistake again. At the same mistake, you can do other mistake. This becomes a transferable skills. If someone is passionate in leadership, when he chooses the individual, he look for the leadership qualities in the person. That is called transferable skills. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I have presented you the three focus and a 4-step process, and with a focus on identity. This comes to end of my presentation. The last slide, please. Okay, now why I just wanted to uh, give you one perspective. Start now. Don't wait for someone else to do that. Whoever is listening to us, I think I see a lot of people who are there as a participants, please implement. These slides are always available to you. I'll send it across. Whoever wants, please, I can send it across to them. My contact details are there. Everything is there. So that's why it is important for us is that if you do last 10 years before whatever you were doing, if you do the same people, same process, same way of looking at it, you will get the same results. So that's why I called yesterday's history. Forget about it. Tomorrow is mystery. We don't know what happens. Academics have been challenged heavily during the pandemic. Okay, now we don't know what is happening. An organization like Cindy College, if it has to arrange and live sessions of these webinars, it would have costed a lot of time, energy, and efforts. If it is in the online, I think it reaches masses. Okay, that's why tomorrow is mystery and today is a gift. That is why we call it as a present. Please act now. If it makes meaningful, some of the points, if it really resonates to you, please take it and implement it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's my honor to introduce the resource person, Dr. S. Ramesh. Dr. S. Ramesh is a dean working at Mount Carmel College, Bengaluru. He is an academician. He is graduate in commerce from Sheshadripuram Degree College, Bengaluru University. Masters in Commerce, Bengaluru University. Sir has also completed MPhil in Management, Bengaluru University. Sir, he is awarded PhD in Management, Bengaluru University. Sir has published many books, to name a few: Strategic Planning and Business Policy, Business Communication for PG Students. Sir has carried out many projects. Sir has produced 24 PhDs, 52 MPhils, 500 PG project reports. Sir has evaluated 20 PhDs, 50 MPhils. Sir has published 42 papers and has been a resource person at more than 200 seminars, conferences, workshops. Sir has also worked on different international assignments. Sir is a member in various committees, to name a few: NAC Peer Committee, Tourism Committee, and the list go on. Sir, it is a privilege to have an eminent personality like you. Now I request Dr. S. Ramesh to take over the session. Over to you, sir.
So very good afternoon, everybody. Esteemed chairman of the session and also the principal of the college, Dr. Shrikanta, my other, at least, fellow speaker, Dr. Balaji, Professor Pillaswamy, Professor George, and other colleagues and friends, fellow participants. Friends, I'm very happy. So to have this session, so it is said actually this session is on how really we can kind of develop skills and what the strategy required at the institutional level in order to build the skills among the students. It said, give a man a fish and you will feed him for a day. But if you really teach him the skills of fishing, you will be at least feeding him for a lifetime. Friends, today the status of skill development, if you look at, I am reminded of this anecdote. It seemed there was a man who was a PhD in automobile engineering. He had some problem with his car and he went to get that repaired with a small-time roadside mechanic. All this roadside mechanic did is, he hit the car with a small hammer and the car started working. And this man asked, what are the charges? This PhD man asked, what are the charges? And this mechanic said, sir, 5,000 rupees. And this man said, to hit my car with a small hammer, you're asking 5,000. Then the mechanic said, sir, to hit the car with a small hammer is only 5 rupees, but to tell you where to hit the car with the hammer, it is 4,995 rupees. See, today this is what is happening to our education. We have a lot of distinctions, degrees, ranks, and so on, but they fail in the marketplace. In fact, it is said almost 60% of the educated graduates are unemployable. That means about almost 50 million Indians are unemployed. And please mind you, even out of the formally, at least labor sector, only 80%, not even 80% are skilled workforce. So here, This at least gives us some idea of what it is. So therefore, there is a need for very conscious skill development in the education institutions. But there is a need for us as teachers to do soul searching. What are we teaching these students? Where are they going? Where are they employed? What are they doing in the industry? Whether the education that we imparted is just enough. These are the things that we really do some introspection. Friends, today there are two types of skills that the really industry looks at, well, the hard and soft skills. As far as the hard skills are concerned, the domain knowledge, you must have expertise in at least one of the fields. So, and some analytical ability, numerical ability, language, computer literacy, and one should have this hard skills you must really master. Otherwise, that a lot of them kind of cannot even sell themselves and really bring out basic concepts of what they read. If you ask an MBA, please define simple marketing, he is unable to kind of distinguish between sales and marketing. So this is the situation today, and we need to kind of look at how it can be done. As far as the soft skills are concerned, this is what really probably we need to very consciously build it into curriculum. This is a brand prism. If you build an individual brand of a student, attitudes are essential, communication skills are essential, networking, group skills, impact part, and futuristic part. As far as attitudes concerned, these are the attitudinal skills that one should really have, a positive attitude, and much more than anything. Among all this, I don't want to explain in detail because we have short term. Crisis management skills, mind you, my friends, actually, common sense made complicated is management. If you have enough, at least common sense, that no, you can really be a genius. So when I'm talking about crisis management skills, which are very essential for any individual to understand the sense of situation and react, it seems Albert Einstein, when he came to fame, he was going around several universities. He wanted to give some lecture in one of the universities, but he really forgot what he wanted to speak. He told his driver, let's go back today because I'm not in the right frame of mind to speak. Driver said, sir, don't worry, I will deliver the lecture today. You be my driver. And both of them agreed. Both of them went to that university. Einstein was sitting like a driver in the last bench. And this driver gave such beautiful lecture, much better than Einstein could do. But at the end of the lecture, one of the scholars asked him a very, very simple question. He knows only to give a lecture, but he doesn't know how to answer a question. But mind you, he had enormous common sense and crisis management skills. He said, it is such a silly question that you're asking me, which my driver will answer. And he brought Einstein to answer this question. This is what really crisis management and common sense is all about. I'm sure that these skills, attitudinal skills, are very, very kind of essential. I want the next kind of skills you need communication. Please mind you that the success of the world is a successful people who are able to communicate. Persuasive communication. If you really develop persuasive communication and adequate negotiation skills, you'll be on top of this world. What happened, HMT, when they started production in the first year, they produced only one machine. In the second year, they produced 2 machines. The public relations officer was going to give a press conference highlighting all the achievements of HMT. He said, ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to go on and on. I want to precisely tell you there's 100% growth in HMT's production. 1 in the first year, 2 in the second year. It's a fact. Next day, all the newspapers carry headlines, 100% growth in HMT's production. That's what communication is all about, friends. Anyway, that we move on, and we also kind of see that these are the again that people skills which are very, very essential. Socializing and emotional intelligence plays a very, very, one of our former session, last session, speakers were talking about this. We really, a lot of at least students lack this emotional intelligence, ability to use their emotions intelligently to get something done. So this is the most thing that you must really kind of, colleges must kind of impart problem solving skills. Don't be a problem, because if you go to a superior every time with a problem, then you would never become a good manager or worker. So you need to kind of have this problem solving skills, entrepreneurial ability, and leadership and positive thinking are also very equally essential. Then that you also at least need. So these are the skills, the team skills, which are very, very essential, or group skills we talk about today. That group team building is one thing which is really missing. As individuals, we Indians work. to the best. But when it really comes to really working in subgroups, that is where really they were lacking. Whether can we kind of give them the team skills and ability to manage change, and also stability of mind and flexibility. They should have the flexibility to be a chairman or a watchman. From bathroom to boardroom, they should be at ease to work. This kind of things that we need to look at. And some imagination also. Then that now we move on to the impact part. That is, they should have some sense of innovation and creativity in them. That is most essential. When I'm talking about creativity, I'm reminded of this example. It seems when Godrej came out with the hair dye for the first time, they thought that it's only the urban people who will buy the hair dye. To their surprise, a lot of rural people were buying the hair dye. They didn't know why. When they did some research, it seemed these rural people were buying the hair dye to dye the buffalo hair to fetch a better price for the buffalo. That's what creativity is all about. In every one of us, there is some creativity. It's just that we need to kind of manifest. Time management skills are most important thing for our students. We need to teach them in time management. Because when you say 9 o'clock, it is 9 o'clock. That's what it is. So how we really train them, put them on disciplining themselves to become better time managers. If they have to improve their brand value, it is most important that they look at their time management and also kind of commitment and creative things like that. Ethics are also very essential. Today, most multinational companies, especially, they're looking at people who are most ethical. In fact, some of the companies recruit, even if they don't have positions for good people, if they they put them on the bench and then recruit again whenever they're required. So this is another issue. These are some of the kind of ethical things that one can talk about. And futuristic part, until and unless that you are able to visualize the future, diverse thinking, thriving in diverse environments. Today with the kind of COVID and other situations, there's confusion, it's so chaotic, it's ambiguous. So in such an environment, you will be required to work. Until through some academic exercises, you need to build that. Learning quickly, adapting to changes, handling difficult situations, handling stress. These are some of the issues that we look at. So friends, having at least briefed over these skills, this is what the universities can do. That change your pedagogy, more of case studies, presentations, community involvement, and make general knowledge compulsory, and bring business at least related at least literature into the classroom so that they read some economic times and things like that. Or even in physical sciences also, putting them more on the skill issues through role plays, industrial visits, and through industry mentoring. Can you request some at least industry at least experts to mentor a group of students? This can also be looked at. Outbound at least learning, and internships, compulsory internships in the curriculum, and having entrepreneurship and incubation centers in the college, giving them some seed money to start some maybe small little business within the campus itself is another thing you can look at. And deputation of teachers to industry. During summer, the teachers could go and work in the industry, pick up some skills, and come back and impart these skills. So incubation center, so not much time, so I'm just skipping some of them. So business incubation, guest lectures, industry visits, book review, and management games, and even kind of asking them to have some manage the event. Some seminar like this, allowing students themselves to organize the whole event. So they at least learn certain skills in order to manage. So friends, anyway, that I didn't have much time, so I thought to cut it short. So there are only two kinds of people that in the future, it is skillish people or the foolish people. So anyway, there is a need for maybe industry and institution to come together and understand what the needs of the industries, and education institutions should be able to kind of invest more on skill development. So thank you for this opportunity, and since there was little time, I had to skip. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Now I request the chairperson, Dr. B.S. Srikanth, to conclude the session with concluding remarks. Over to you, sir.
Once again, very good afternoon to everyone. We listened to very illuminating and informative talks by two experts, Dr. Ramesh and Dr. M.S. Balaji. Dr. Ramesh, he very rightly stressed upon the importance of both hard and soft skills to enhance employability. And both of them touched on ethics and values in the profession, which is very important, much more than probably the other skills. Dr. Balaji made a very detailed presentation on the various aspects of how one can integrate the skills required, employable skills, into the curriculum. Even he also dealt with the strategy for blending skills into the curriculum, an integrated approach. And he proposed, the 4-step process to enhance, to acquire these skills, and also see that the students of an education institution, they get employment and they improve their employability skills. And I thank both of you, sir, for throwing, light on this sub-theme, namely how to improve the employability, enhancement of employability through curriculum reforms. Now the session is open for question and answers. Dear participants, if there are any questions, you please feel free to ask, and our experts are here to give clarifications. Even Dr. Balaji's one point which I like, mentoring with the corporate is a very good point, so that we can really mentor the students by bringing. In fact, we have been doing it even in our college also. In fact, we regularly conduct guest lectures by bringing people from corporate, and also every year we do conduct industrial visits also, where we take them to the industry, and our students spend about 2 to 3 days in the industry and learn about the functioning of the industry and interact with the various officials of the industry and try to learn about the functioning of the industry and all that. So that kind of linkage already we have built, and probably we have to strengthen it further in the days to come.
That's why, Dr. Shrikant, I did not stress upon giving the projects. I think the organizations are doing it more.
Project work is going on. Projects
yes,
are based.
that's why I did not stress upon that. I know for organization like yours and others, good organizations, they are getting the projects and all the things. My only stress is that establish a career office and blend all the hand-holding activity through the career office. Then I think a person who can talk very nicely about the career should be heading the career office. Okay, so give that focus to that. Then I think mentoring will really help. So contact around 50-60 mentors in the field and say, would you like to come and talk to us once in a quarter? That's enough. Once in a quarter is once in a quarter, 10 people you invite and give 5 people to the 10 mentors, so that they can have an individual room.
We do actually counseling on career guidance also. We do career guidance, not just placement cell. We also do regularly career guidance on the aspect also. We cover that. We regularly do that by inviting people from various industries and all that. And even from different, we also deal with the different disciplines also. What are the career opportunities?
Only difference there in guest lecturing and this career mentoring.
No, it's not guest lecture. It's like where they talk about only the career aspects.
Yeah, correct. What the difference is that here in career guidance of career office of mentoring, your association of a career with a student is 2 years term. Whereas in counseling, it will be 1 or 2 occasions they come and do the counseling and going. In fact, I am now coaching some of the students, and it is going for years, more than a year. And some of the people who are young in their careers also we are coaching, and it is almost 10 to 12 months. That means it is agenda of the students which the counselor or mentor or the coach will pick up and handhold him. That's the thing. I think it's association is 2 years.
Yeah, that's a good thing actually.
Yeah.
I think probably we'll explore that possibility and see. We'll get in touch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will go a step forward. I mean, that not merely only that 1 or 2 meetings, right from the day a student is admitted till he completes his degree, if we can attach him to some mentor, where they're in touch with that mentor for their technical, academic, and other needs also, I'm sure that they will shape up better.
Yeah. Good.
That's
Very
a,
nice.
that's a good,
Very nice.
that's a good point. Yeah.
So if there are no questions from the participants, I think we are on time, sir, or we are.
No, just I'll make the concluding remarks.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I just want, before you make concluding remarks, I want to thank Dr. George and Professor Swami, both of them, and you,
Yeah.
Dr. Srikanta, for three of you. My sincere gratitude and thanks.
From my side too, that thanks to all of them.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'll be just, yeah. Let me start with, dear participants and friends. Let me start with the statement that higher education institutions have to understand the challenges of the contemporary world and act accordingly. Employment is getting a job which is commensurate with qualification and other skills possessed by the candidate or job is relevant to the educational background and skills possessed by the candidate. Employability is a set of accomplishments like knowledge, skills, and personal traits that makes the graduate more likely to get a job and also be successful in the chosen occupation, which ultimately benefits the community and the economy. Let me make it very clear that employability is not just getting a job. In a broader sense, it will enable the person to be successful in his careers. Apart from the graduation, it is the employable skills that makes the person stand out from the crowd. To improve the chances of employment or to become employable, one has to acquire skills which are in demand. We know that in this era of globalization, we find tough, cutthroat competition in the employment market, because for any job there are multiple aspirants. A person seeking employment has to be globally competitive, knowledgeable, highly skilled, and he or she must have a vision. Now, let's go to the next slide. Ritu, next slide. No, yeah. Which are the, next slide, please. Next slide. Which are the factors contributing to the employability? Some of the factors I have listed here. One is the quality of education. What is the quality of the education important in the institution? Matters a lot in building the knowledge component of the student. Because, as we know that there are three components of education. One is the knowledge, the second one is the skills, and the third one is the values. So this quality of education important in the institution is very important to build the knowledge component and of course the skill and also the values. And then student experiences, what kind of experiences that the student gains in the institution, whether it is academics or when it comes to skill development or the value-based education, practical experiences, exposure, and what kind of teaching learning is going on in the institution, and how the students participates in the entire educational process. All these things matter when it comes to the student experiences. And then exposure to practical situation, exposure to industry, individual personality, attitude, and acquisition of employable skills, which our speakers have already touched upon. These are some of the factors which really contribute to the employability of the students, of the employability of the candidates. The next slide. In the next slide, these employability skills are the intangible skills or the transferable skills that are useful in every job or occupation. Possession of these skills will improve one's performance, enabling to discharge the responsibilities more effectively and also efficiently, and also attracts the attention of the employers. It enables, as I said once, to stand out in the crowd of job seekers. And employability skills are important and needed apart from the job-specific skills. I don't have to really elaborate on these skills because both the speakers have already touched upon this, but I'm only trying to reiterate the same. That these are the skills that I've listed here out of my experience and also interaction with the HR managers of the companies who visit our institution for campus interviews. In fact, in our campus interviews, and the campus interview network is quite strong in our institution. And every year, many companies, about 15 to 20 companies, they visit our institution for campus placements. So during their visits, I do interact with the HR managers to just know about the performance of the students and also what kind of skills that they are looking for in our students. And that's how I got to know that these are the skills that they are really looking for when it comes to the employment and also employability skills. Like, communication skills are very important. These communication skills are very important because that avoids a lot of miscommunication and also misunderstandings. It avoids misunderstandings. The communication, if you have good communication skills, it enhances the company's production also, productivity, and also prevents the wastage of time, and it helps to write properly to interact properly. Good communication skills will help us to interact properly with the co-workers and also customers. And therefore, good communication skills are very, very important. Good important, and also probably a very important employability skills. Then teamwork is very important to maintain good interpersonal relationships. Then problem solving skills, organizational skills, leadership skills, willingness to learn new things, adapting to changes. That's also very, very important. And then self-confidence. Self-confidence is very, very important because I find that many students, they always have that kind of diffidence. Whether will I be able to carry out this thing? Will I be able to achieve the goal? That kind of a dilemma will be there in their minds. And to overcome all these things and to build that courage and also the conviction that I would be able to do the things, self-confidence matters a lot. And therefore, one should have that self-confidence. That's what the employers are looking for in the minds of the prospective employees. Then comes the reliability. If you have the next slide. Reliability is very important because it develops the trust between employer and employee. That the trust between the employer and employee is very important for the growth of the institution, for the growth of the industry, and also for carrying out the day-to-day activities in the industry. And then willingness to accept the responsibility is another thing that the companies are looking for. Because many people, they don't want to accept the responsibilities, but still they want all the benefits. But that kind of mindset won't work now in the corporate world. And one should have the willingness to accept the responsibilities, and having accepted, and also you should have the right abilities and also the good kind of ability to discharge those responsibilities to the satisfaction of everyone. And then self-discipline is a very important trait that everyone should possess. And then time management, which Dr. Ramesh already touched upon and spoke about that. Time management leads to efficiency and also efficacy. And then decision making is another important trait that the people are looking at. Then regularity and punctuality. The use of technology. Skills to adopt latest technology and stay ahead of others. In fact, I tell you my own experience about probably about 15 years back, probably about 10, 15 years back, when the government of Karnataka wanted, to introduce, this computer tech, when may ask the staff, the collegiate staff in colleges, both the teaching and the non-teaching staff, to adopt this technology. And when the government issued an order saying that everybody should become computer savvy and go in for paperless administration and paperless library management and things like that, many of the employees who were almost on the verge of employment, probably, let's say, who had crossed about 50, they were not willing to learn the computer ability. And they were all telling, so I'm already on the verge of retirement, though they had about another 10 years of service. They were telling, I'm already crossed 50, I'm already on the verge of retirement and I have nothing to learn. Why should I learn now at this age? So I tell you, there is no limit for, there is no age limit for learning. And one should be always, enthusiastic and willing to learn new things and stay ahead of others. And that kind of, mindset is very much important and very much necessary, and a very important skill that is required to stay ahead of others. Then conflict management is another important thing. And then strategical thinking is another employability skills that the company is looking at. Next slide. Then how do we really modify, or how do we reform the curriculum to introduce this employability skills and to enhance the employability of students? One thing I would like to, as a teacher for the last more than 4 decades, what we have to adopt, the first and the foremost thing is, we have to adopt student-centric teaching learning methods in our institution. We have to totally dispense with this rote learning, which is happening in most of the institutions. And the student-centric teaching learning will definitely improve the conceptual understanding. That's the emphasis should be on conceptual understanding, and the level of the comprehension will be definitely much better with the student-centric teaching learning process. Because when it comes to the knowledge, I can tell you, many students, they score 80% or distinction, they get distinction in the examination by repeating, by probably by hearting or through rote learning and reproducing in the examination, but nothing would have gone to their brains. So that kind of, education, that kind of teaching learning process should go. And the student-centric teaching learning, where the student is the center of the entire activity, all the activities are centered around the student, and he is our prime stakeholder, and the entire teaching process or the learning process takes place in such a way that the comprehension level of the students increases, and he will be able to understand the concepts. And that's why I always, recommend, in fact, we have been doing it in our institution by adopting experiential and participative learning techniques in the curriculum delivery. When it comes to the curriculum delivery, or even when it comes to the, let's say, teaching learning process, we adopt experiential and participative learning techniques in the institution so that the comprehension level of the students go up and the knowledge component also increases. In fact, I quote Confucius, there is a spelling mistake here. I quote, I hear, I forget. I see, I remember, I do, I understand. And this we do, we give a lot of, participative program like, project-based learning, then problem solving. And we have also adopted innovative teaching practices in our institution, like, flipped classrooms, and then Z2A approach and things like that, where, our students are given the opportunity to learn and then express their views, and teacher is there. Role of the teacher has changed. The role of teacher is only to see that whatever the student has learned through his, efforts, and whatever thoughts he has there in his mind, teacher will only help in organizing the thoughts in a proper way. And that kind of, flipped classroom and certificate approach, the new teaching techniques that we have adopted has really found, bearing results. Then as our speakers also mentioned it, internships to be made a part of the curriculum. That's very, very important, because the internships, exposes the students to the industry, and they will be able to understand how the functioning of the industry and all that. And that's a very important thing to be made a part of the curriculum. Then freedom, of course, innovation and curriculum, creativity, both of them already spoken about that. And then training in personal attributes like problem solving, decision making, teamwork, communication skills has to be offered, and promoting creativity and innovation. And there should be reforms in the evaluation process, and also in fact, I am suggesting, next slide, a very important thing that has to happen, the change in the question paper pattern. That is very much needed. In fact, when it comes to the conceptual understanding and problem solving and things like that, we have to change the question paper pattern itself. That I have been, advocating this. When we look at the question papers, the present day question papers, they are still, this question paper pattern, it encourages, rote learning. I tell you, I'll give examples also. For example, there is when it comes to, let us say, Indian financial system, a paper on Indian financial system, there is a question like, name the financial institutions in India. I'm just giving an example. Ramesh, do you agree with me? Ramesh. Dr. Ramesh, you agree with me? I think you are unmute. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
No, you agree with me that, there are questions, which are in the question paper, which really encourage rote learning. Like, name the financial institutions in India.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and when it comes to, let us say, physics, even today, we say state Newton's laws of motion, state Newton's laws. I suggest that, that anybody can by heart and write the names of the institutions and also Newton's laws and all that. But what is required is, in fact, I have seen the question papers set by other universities, the top universities in the world, or in the Western, let's say, Western countries. They don't give any such questions at all. You don't find such questions in the paper. They, instead of asking, to state Newton's laws, they'll give a problem on Newton's laws, so that they understand whether the student has understood the concept behind the Newton's laws, or concept which are, given by the Newton's laws. Similarly, I have seen, some of the question papers in MBA, for MBA examination. And when it comes to, they give a live project actually. In fact, the students are given, a problem. For example, they say, our university has got a corpus fund of about, let's say, $200 billion. I'll just give an example. When it comes to the investment management, Dr. Ramesh, yes, and also Balaji, you see, I've seen situations where, I told I spent almost a year in the university, in US. They give questions, where they say they have got a $200 billion. The university has got $200 billion. Now we are thinking of investing this amount, and you please tell us how to invest this so that we maximize the profit, or we maximize the benefit out of that. It's a live project. The students can think of and give suggestions for investing this, and those whatever suggestions are given by the students, it will be evaluated, of course, by the professors, by experts, and if the suggestion is found very good, it is implemented in the university. And even when we see the question papers on finance and consultations and all that, they're totally, unless they're both totally conceptual based, and unless the student has understood the concept, the student will not be able to solve the problem, even if he is taken to the library and 100 books are put in front of him. That is the kind of problems are given to the students, so that really understand the concepts, and that kind of conceptual understanding is very much necessary. But I think that's why I said we have to change the pattern of the question paper in our country, so that we encourage the students to understand the concepts. And we also have to encourage the students to participate in extracurricular activities, so that their personality development takes place, and all-round development of the students, the personality of the students. We give an opportunity for the all-round development of the personality of these students. And then we also have to give prominence to entrepreneurship education. In fact, one of the speakers in the morning, he did mention about that we have to provide, we have to just, not only give inputs to about the knowledge and the academics, we should also develop and promote entrepreneurship among the children. And all the institutions have to set up. In fact, Dr. Ramesh also mentioned that we also have to, and even Balaji did mention about that we have to set up, incubation centers in the colleges so that the students are trained in entrepreneurship. So they become entrepreneurs and they give a job, they givers rather than job seekers. So these are some of the changes that are, they have to be brought about in the curriculum so that we really promote, we reform the curriculum and see that the employability of students is enhanced in the days to come. I think, of course, many institutions are really thinking on these lines, and I'm very happy that, as I said, the need of the hour is to reinforcement of employability through curricula and also extracurricular activities. As I said, internships should be made compulsory, as it always plays a very significant role in building competences. And skill development need to be prominence, and conceptual understanding, creativity, and innovation have to be given importance. So with these few words, I once again thank both the speakers and also participants for their patient hearing. And I thank the organizers of this webinar for having given this wonderful opportunity to share my views with the participants. Thank you.